As we convene to explore the changing landscape of ministry, let's begin by acknowledging a simple truth. The world in which we lead is shifting under our feet. Profound economic forces and intense social pressures are reshaping how people live, work, and seek meaning. In this lecture, I will guide you through the critical insights from our integrated deep research report. We will start by examining the macroeconomic megatrends, the big picture shifts in technology, demographics, and the global economy that are impacting the future of work and ministry. Then we'll delve into the socio-cultural stressors, the strains on our social fabric and personal well-being, and their second-order effects on human flourishing. Finally, we'll synthesize these findings into key conclusions, identifying feedback loops between these trends, the vulnerabilities they expose in our ministries, and some paradigm shifts that strategic church leaders might consider in response. My goal is that by the end of this session, you will not only grasp these sweeping changes analytically, but also feel equipped and motivated to lead through them with wisdom and hope. First, macroeconomic megatrends, shaping the future. Let's begin with the broad economic and technological forces at play, what our report's Chapter 1 termed macroeconomic megatrends. These are the enormous currents in the global economy that influence industries, jobs, and communities at a structural level. They may sound abstract at first, but their effects trickle down into the lives of every congregant and every neighborhood we serve. Allow me to highlight a few of the most pivotal megatrends: the rise of artificial intelligence and automation, the aging of populations, shifts in capital and markets, the retreat of globalization, and the consolidation of industry. Each of these is transforming the context in which future work and ministry will unfold. AI and automation, a new industrial revolution. Perhaps the most attention-grabbing trend is the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, AI, and automation. We are living through a wave of technological innovation that some have likened to a new industrial revolution. AI algorithms can now carry out tasks once thought to be the exclusive domain of human intelligence, from diagnosing diseases and driving cars to writing reports and coding software. Robots and automated systems are handling an ever-growing array of manual and cognitive tasks. For the workforce, this trend is double-edged. On one side, automation promises huge gains in productivity and efficiency. Mundane and repetitive work can be offloaded to machines, freeing people to focus on more creative or interpersonal tasks. In an ideal scenario, AI could augment human labor, making our work lives more fulfilling. However, the other side of this story is less rosy: job disruption. Many jobs, especially those involving routine or predictable activities, are at risk of being reduced or eliminated. Estimates vary, but studies suggest that by the end of this decade, a significant share of current jobs could be affected by automation. Tens of millions of roles in the United States alone might change or disappear. Imagine long-haul trucking largely handled by self-driving vehicles, or customer service lines primarily staffed by AI-driven chatbots. Whole categories of employment are being reimagined. This upheaval brings anxiety for workers and communities. Displaced workers will need to reskill or change careers, often multiple times in a lifetime. That's a tall order, particularly for mid-career individuals or those without access to education and training. We can anticipate greater inequality as well. Those with advanced skills in technology or the capital to invest in automation may reap most of the benefits, while those whose jobs are easily automated, often lower income or less skilled workers, could find themselves struggling to find their place in the new economy. Even professions that once felt future-proof, lawyers, journalists, professors, are discovering that AI can encroach on their work. Consider how tools like AI text generators can produce passable articles or legal summaries in seconds. The advent of AI is not just an economic story, it's a human story, one of uncertainty and adaptation. For ministry leaders, understanding this trend is crucial. Our congregations will include people facing career upheaval and vocational angst. We'll encounter individuals whose identity and self-worth have been shaken by job loss or rapid workplace change. We'll also see young people navigating a transformed job market, preparing for careers that may not even have existed when they were born. There's an opportunity here. Churches can become centers for vocational encouragement and retraining support, partnering with local businesses, or offering mentorship as people retrace their career paths. At the same time, AI itself is a tool ministries can potentially leverage. Just as businesses use AI to extend their reach, churches might use artificial intelligence for administrative tasks, community outreach, or personalizing education. For example, analyzing community data to better target service projects, or using automated translation to bridge language gaps in multilingual congregations. Of course, these possibilities come with ethical questions about authenticity and trust. But the bottom line is that AI and automation are rewriting the rules of work, and by extension, influencing the rhythms of life in our communities. As leaders, we must be prepared to guide people through both the perils and possibilities of this technological sea change. Demographic aging, a graying population. Next, let's consider demographics, specifically the aging of populations in the United States and many other countries. We are witnessing a dramatic shift in age distribution that will profoundly affect the workforce, economy, and community life. Thanks to decades of declining birth rates and rising life expectancy, societies are getting older. In the U.S., the baby boom generation, those born roughly 1946-1964, has now begun to enter their late 60s and 70s. By the early 2030s, Americans over 65 will outnumber children for the first time in history. Picture that, more grandparents than grandchildren in our nation. And by mid-century, roughly 1 in 4 Americans will be senior citizens. This gray tsunami brings several implications. On an economic level, a larger retired population means a smaller proportion of people in their prime working years. Fewer workers are available to drive economic growth and to support social safety nets. We expect strain on pension systems like Social Security and on healthcare services that cater to older adults. Industries may face chronic labor shortages, especially in physically demanding jobs less attractive to older workers, a factor that ironically accelerates the push for more automation and AI to fill the gap. At the same time, older consumers will shape markets with their needs and preferences, from healthcare and housing to leisure and technology adapted for older users. On a social level, aging populations will alter family and community dynamics. Many families will consist of 4 living generations, which is a blessing, but also a complexity. There's a growing need for elder care. Millions of middle-aged adults find themselves caring for aging parents while still supporting their own children, the so-called sandwich generation. This can increase stress on families and reduce mobility. People might decline job opportunities elsewhere because they can't relocate away from relatives who depend on them. There's also a looming risk of loneliness among the elderly. As people live longer, more may outlive spouses and friends, and smaller family sizes mean fewer adult children to provide social contact. Already, loneliness and isolation are pervasive problems for many seniors, with direct impacts on mental and physical health. Now consider what this means in a ministry context. Churches, especially in the U.S., are experiencing aging congregations. Many ministry leaders notice the graying of the pews, faithful older members whose presence is a gift, yet fewer young families and youth than in decades past. This trend might continue as national demographics shift. It presents both a challenge and an opportunity. The challenge is how to minister effectively in an age-heavy context. How to support the needs of older adults, like accessibility, pastoral care for homebound or cognitively declining members, grief support as they lose peers, while still engaging younger generations and children in meaningful ways. There's also a leadership pipeline concern. As veteran pastors and lay leaders retire, who will step into their shoes, especially if there are fewer young people active in church? Many denominations already report clergy shortages and are experimenting with new models like bivocational or part-time pastors, in part because of this demographic pressure. The opportunity, on the other hand, is rich intergenerational ministry. An aging society, if embraced well, could foster greater intergenerational connection within churches. Imagine congregations where retirees become mentors to the young, where the wisdom and faith stories of elders are intentionally passed down, and where youth in turn helps seniors navigate contemporary life, teaching them new technology, for instance, or simply energizing them with friendship. We can envision churches serving as community hubs for the aging population, offering everything from senior day programs to caregiver support groups, effectively standing in the gap where social systems might be strained. And for the broader community, an age-diverse church that values each generation can be a powerful witness in a society that often segregates and isolates the old. It's worth noting that this aging trend is not uniform across the globe. Yes, in most of the industrialized West, and even in emerging economies like China, populations are aging rapidly. China, in fact, is graying at a historically unprecedented rate due to its former one-child policy, potentially getting old before it gets rich. But in many emerging regions, especially in sub-Saharan Africa and parts of South Asia, the story is different. Those regions still have very young populations and high birth rates. The median age in the United States is around 38. Compare that to a country like Nigeria, where the median age is about 18. These youthful societies have a different challenge, creating enough jobs and education opportunities for a booming generation of children and youth. They face the risk of a youth bomb of unemployment if economic development doesn't keep pace with population growth. Why mention this in our context? Because the global church is interconnected. Migration flows often move from younger, poorer countries to older, richer ones, bringing people, often young workers, from, say, West Africa or Central America to the US or Europe. Within our own congregations, we may see an influx of immigrants who come seeking work and fill crucial roles. For instance, immigrants comprise a significant part of the caregiving workforce for the elderly in the US. These connections remind us that demographic realities are global, and ministry in the future must account for both an aging hometown and a youthful world beyond, with all the cultural exchange that implies